Hi all, this is the third video of ADF training. So in this video we will discuss ADF bindings and its uses, ADF inbuilt components and some more coding examples. So let's start with ADF binding. So what is a ADF binding? ADF binding is an interface between the business component and your UI. So as I told you, there is a database. So database interacts with the ADF business components. ADF business components are nothing but your EO, VO, application module and all those things. And ADF business component interacts with the GUI pages, the ADF faces, GUI, or you can call them as ADF faces components, or the task flow, ADF task flow. So in between how this business component interacts with the ADF faces components or the UI, there is a in between link between them, and there ADF bindings come into picture. So ADF bindings actually provide the data for the web pages, and it takes the data from ADF BC. So this is a interface between ADF BC and the actual UI. So that's why it is also called as you can also call this as a page definition file or binding container, because the page definition is mentioned in the ADF bindings. So ADF bindings will provide the data to the page definition. Suppose take for example, we have an employee table in database. So this is the database table. Then ADF BC comes into picture. Suppose we created only a read-only VO. So that will be the ADF BC. Then we'll create a page and we'll then drag this RVO onto this page because as a table. So we are creating a table type data on this page. So at that runtime, simultaneously when we'll pull the RVO onto the page, ADF bindings will be created automatically. ADF bindings will be created automatically, and for each type of component which we are pulling or dragging onto the page, a specific type of binding will be created. So since we are dropping RVO onto the page as a table type here in this example, so a tree binding will be created. So similarly, so tree binding is created for table type pages. So similarly, attribute binding will be created for form type data. So tree binding is a row set. This is a row set. Attribute binding is a single value. Similarly, if someone is creating a list of values, so a list binding will be created. This will be created when a choice list is required. Similarly, a LOB binding will be created when you give the LOB as the input LOB with list of values. Also there are boolean bindings also there, graph binding. So based on the page components the bindings are created. So every page will have a page definition file where the bindings reside. This is a one-to-one relationship. So single page will have a single page definition file, and that is how this is the complete architecture of ADF. You can see there is database, there is the business component layer, then there is the model layer. This ADF binding is the model layer of ADF, and then it is communicating with the view control layer, the GUI layer. So this is the basics of ADF bindings. So we'll go to JDeveloper and see how the bindings are actually happening on runtime, and we'll see what are the various uses of those bindings. So let me create a new application. Bindings. Let it give bindings app. Model project, view controller project, 2 projects are created. Finish. Let me create a simple EO and view new business components from table, give the database connection, test connection. Okay, include the EO. Let's choose department also. Okay, view is created. Let's create the view. So both the things, view is also created. We don't need a review, and this is the application module. Finish. So the business layer is created. Now let's go to application module and set the data model. Let's take these all off, don't need them. We'll only keep the employees v1 as the application module data model. Now let's go to data control. First create a page, new page, JSF. Okay. Turn wrong place. New JSF page. Page name, let's give table type page. Okay. Let's pull this employees view onto this page as a table. ADF table. Now let's go to the page definition file of this table. Go to page definition. So this is the table.jspx is the page name, and table page def.xml is the page definition file name. And you can see the table is in JSPX format and the page definition file is .xml format. And also let's see the bindings. The binding, you can see it is a tree binding which is created, and these executables actually actually process the data from the bindings. So they are the main engine which works in processing the data from the bindings, and they provide the data to the data control. So this is the view iterator. If you see, it is providing data to the data control. Employees view 1. Now let's create another page which will be a form type, and let's see what type of bindings are created for that. New page, JSF page, for, okay. So we'll pull this onto this as a ADF form. Include submit button, navigation controls. Okay. Let's go to the page definition file. Form.jspx is the page name. Form page df.xml is the page definition file. As you can see, there are single bindings created, and those are all attribute bindings. There are also the navigation keys, past, previous, last, next. These are the, let's see which type of binding are these. These are the action bindings. So similarly, bindings are getting created automatically. So if you click on each binding, it is showing you the actual engine which is working to pull the data. The iterator is the executable that will pull the data from the bindings, and it will give it to the data control. Okay. So let's save all these things. Now how we'll know which page belongs to which binding? So to see the relationship between the bindings and the page, there is a page which is already present, that is the data bindings.cpx. So data bindings.cpx gives the relationship between the page and the corresponding binding or page definition file. You can see the page name is table.jspx and the page definition is this. So here you can see the direct relationship between the data binding pages and the page definition files. This is the page definition file, page def. Okay. So now let's design the table JSPX. ADF updatable table will be created. Let's see what are the components and how we can utilize it. sorry, we created updatable form type ADF page. Let's close all. This is the form which we created. If you run it, let's see it first how it is looking. Okay, here you can see the employee form which is coming. You can click on the next values, and also last value, first value. All these are inbuilt components which are there on the form, but this form is not looking good. If there will be more columns, then everything will be in one column, so it will be a quite long one. So to make it to improve the look and feel, we'll change the spacing of the columns. Well, let's go to the component palette of this form. Let's go to the structure window, form layout. This is the component palette. We'll give the rows as 4 and columns as 4. So now it will be split across. And if you come here in the data control, the employees view instance, you can see there are operations. These are the inbuilt components which are already provided here from ADF. So you can pull these inbuilt components here, create as a ADF button, then suppose delete as a ADF button, / are already there. Then suppose you want to, but this submit button will not submit it to the database, it will just submit it into the EO cache. So the data will not be committed onto the database. To commit the changes onto database, we need to use commit, and to rollback we will be use this thing. Now let's run it and see how it is looking. Page is loading. Yeah, now you see again it is not looking good, as you can see these things are in one column, but we want to place them in a row so that the look and feel will be good. So to do that, we'll go to the structure window. In the structure window, we can see the complete structure of that web page. Let's try to understand first what is this structure. You can see this is the form, and this is the page template which we are using, the 3-page template. This is the center facet where we have put everything. So let's open the center facet. Here also you can see there is a form layout. So this complete layout is the form layout. Inside that you have the individual attributes, and the buttons are there inside the panel form layout facet. So open the panel form layout, you can see all the buttons there, but the first row button Again, the buttons are inside the panel layout facet, but inside that the buttons are placed in the panel group layout, which is a vertical panel group layout. So that is the purpose. When you place the buttons inside this layout, they are all placed in a vertical manner. But the first row, the buttons, next, last, these things are again placed inside a horizontal row layout. So that's why they are in a row, horizontally placed. So we want to place these things also, the buttons which we placed on this vertical layout, in horizontal manner. So that is also simple. Select all the buttons, right click, surround with group layout, panel group layout. So you can see another panel group layout is created. Let's make it horizontal layout, horizontal. Okay, let's save and run it. So now as you can see, these are all aligned properly. Now I want to give some space between these two buttons. Let's see how to give the space so that it will look uniform. Now it is not looking good as everything is connected to each other. Okay, to achieve that, we'll go to component palette. We'll search for a component like spacer. This is a already ADF faces component, and just place the spacer between the buttons. Let's see in the structure window if it is done correctly or not. One spacer is not there, just Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Let's do it here. Ctrl V. One extra spacer is created. You can put it here. So every button, so in between two buttons we have a spacer. Let's now run it and see how does it look now. So now it is looking uniform. We can do one thing, we can pull these two buttons also to down, commit and roll back. Delete will keep it here, and commit and roll back again will pull down. Go to structure window, put the delete there, commit and roll back will take. Control X. Control Z. You can simply pull them, drag and drop. Control Z. Okay, to achieve this, we'll do create, rollback, we'll select all these things, surround with a panel group layout. And then we'll pull the panel group layout outside of this. We'll Control X. In the vertical, we'll do a Control V. So now that is out of that horizontal panel. Now we can see we have three group layouts which are horizontal. First one is having the first, previous, next and last navigation buttons. The second one is having submit, there is an extra spacer, we'll remove that. Submit, commit and delete. And the third one is create and rollback. It's for the third one. We'll do the layout as horizontal layout. Let's save these changes and run it. Okay, now let's see how these buttons are actually working. You can see next, it is giving the data. Last, it will give it the last record. So next is now disabled. So let's create a so first it will go to the first record. This commit and rollback are disabled right now. That's because commit and rollback, we'll see the property how it is. Commit, let's remove the text and make it as safe. There is a property called disabled. You can see it has some binding value. Let's remove that. Save it. Similarly, for rollback also we have to remove that. Save it. Let's run it again. So now we can see the save means the commit and rollback buttons here. Suppose go to the last record 206. Suppose I am appending with the first name with some garbage text SSP and then submit it. So let's see, submit means it is actually submitting or not. Again go to first and come to last. It is actually in this view instance it is submitting, but it is not committing it onto the database. So if you do a rollback, it okay, it is giving some error. We'll see that error later. So if you do a save, I think it should commit it to the database now. And if you go to first then last, it is now committed onto the database. So this is how we can do the changes on the form also, and commit the change onto the database. So now let's do some coding and see how it is actually working. Suppose there is a requirement for every employee ID. Here the number of job history counts will be shown. So let's see how we can achieve that. So to achieve that, we'll create a read only view, new business component. Okay, let's cancel this. New view object. Directly we can create a view object. We'll create a read only view object. Okay, this is going to take time. Let's do it in our own way. Idea business component from table. Okay, we don't need a EO because we are directly creating the read only view object. This is the read only view object. Our view job history. We'll search job history. Next, no application module required. Finish. So job history our view is created. Let's create a view criteria for this query. Add item employee ID equals bind variable. Create a new bind variable bnd eid. Let's keep it eid. Job history view criteria, let's change the name to BC. Okay. Application module data model, let's add this read only view with job history. Let's go to Java to write the code. We'll apply the view criteria of job history same way as we did previously. Public. We'll return an integer here because we want the count of job history, so we'll return integer, not void. Public integer count job list. It is a string type eid. select the getters of job history view. Let's assign that to a variable, view object impl type variable, jview, this is equal to this. Then we'll jview dot view criteria, get view criteria name, view criteria name is job history vc, and assign this to a variable which is view criteria, view criteria, alt enter, view criteria oracle.jview, we'll assign that to a variable jvc is equal to jview.viewCriteria. So now we'll assign the bind variable to the input value which is coming into this method. So to do that, again jview dot jview dot get named var class param this is not the right thing. Set name var class param will be the thing because we are setting the name. Let's do it from the beginning. jview dot set name var class set name var class param string object. So string is bmd eid and object is eid, the input parameter. So this will set the value. Then we'll apply the view criteria, jview dot apply view criteria. View criteria variable is jvc. Then we'll do jview dot execute query. Then return jview dot row jview dot get row count. Get row count, it is an integer type, so we are returning integer and this is an integer. Okay. So now let's save it. Let's go to application module, import into the client interface, import this method onto the client interface, save it, refresh the data control. This is coming here. Let's go to the page, job history page, the forms page will go, pull it here as a ADF parameter form. Okay, so count of job history. Then we have a output variable also. Let's put it here. as a text, ADF output text with label. Let's change the label as count of job history is. Let's save it. Let's run this and see what is happening. There is some error coming. The error is coming from the app module impl.java. So let's go here. Yeah, we can see there is an extra bracket here. We'll remove that. Okay, let's see if it solves the purpose. Go to the page again, right click, run. Yeah, it is running this time. Let's wait. Let it load the data onto the page. Yeah, it is deploying right now. Okay, so now it is coming like this. Suppose we put 100, the employee number, get the count is 0, go to next, 101, put it here, get the count is 2, job history count, so it is working fine. Let's change the look and feel. And also, suppose the client has a requirement that the employee ID which is coming here, that will be defaulted onto this field. You don't need to enter it here, it will come here automatically, and this field will be in disabled mode so that nobody can update it. Then you have to click the submit button. Let's change. The count of job history, go to structure palette. Here you can see it clearly. Input EID, EMPID, let's go to the structure window. For the time being, let's delete it as it is overlapping in the page. Now it is looking clear. In this will we are giving as a submit the button name. Okay, so we want the value to be defaulted from here. So first come here, let's see what is the value here. The value is this. Just copy this. You can see this is the binding employee ID dot input value. The attribute, this employee ID is an attribute value, as this is a form type binding. So this is a attribute binding. So employee ID dot input value is the current value. So we'll put it here. Put the value here as this, and then do one thing. You want to make it disabled so that user cannot update it. So there is a property called disable. Make it true. So user now cannot update it. So there is submit button. Let's pull the output text also. This is the output text. Put it here. Text ADF output text. Before value we'll put the job history is. So this will come here. And one more thing, let's go to the bindings. Since this is a method we have pulled, let's see which type of binding is this. It is a method action binding, and method action binding come inside. You can see this also has an input value, so we have to change this input value also, which we are showing it on the page. Let's go to the page design. So this is actually we are showing it here, but this is actually not getting input onto the method. So to do that input onto the method, we'll go to the method binding. Come here into the method binding. So here we can change the value. Whatever value we are showing, it means we are actually inputting, that value should go inside the method as an input. Let's okay. Now let's run the page and see if it actually works or not. Save it. Run. Okay, here 100, it is coming automatically as 100, and we cannot edit it also. If I submit, count is coming 0. Next 101, it is coming automatically. Then submit, count is getting 2. Next 102, submit, count is getting 1. So this is working fine. Yeah, this is working fine. Okay, so with this I have to conclude this video. So with this video we concluded the complete model layer section of ADF application. We have completed the ADF basic components, EU, BU and application module, and the extension of application module in the data control layer. In the data control we have already discussed the inbuilt components, and how the parent-child relationship, and how the web page we have to drag and drop on what types of components. So and also ADF bindings we have discussed, how the ADF bindings are created with respect to the different types of components on the web page. Those things are already covered. So next video onwards we will discuss about the GUI part of ADF application. So this is the view component layer. So there we will view controller layer. So there we'll discuss about the task flows, ADFSS components, and how to design the web pages. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks.